she had seen on buses to use in emergencies. It didn't matter. It would be more effective than her fists. She got back to her feet and stumbled forward. 1 step, 2, the third just a half step, and was caught again with a clunk that left her balancing on 1 foot with the other knee raised while she flailed for a moment at the door in front of her. The bell clanged for the 4th time. 10 seconds left. The time for searching was over. The wire that had been gripping her fell slack. She moved back, now with time to realize just how hard she was breathing, gasping to fill her lungs. She needed to get that under control. It wasn't the exertion so much as the fear, anticipation of what she knew was coming next. Her fingers hurt as she pulled at the wire loop that now fell apart to drop at her feet. She stepped out, fixing her gaze on the closed door, knowing the outcome if she dared leave before that final bell. She felt for the wall with her bare foot, using it as something solid to push off, to give her the best start. She leant forward, her hands resting on the floor, her right foot dragging up to complete the stance of a sprinter on a starting block. She had a moment to glance down her tense body at the belt hanging loose off her waist, and at the hammer that was uncomfortable in her right hand, squashing her knuckles into the floor, but she dared not let it go even for a moment. She was wearing a loose red dress made of coarse material coated with a layer of filth. The thigh that was lifted was stained with animal feces, and dirt too. She lifted her head for one last look at the solid stone lintel above the door. She was sure the pattern and the row of numbers scratched into it were also scratched into her mind, and with such ferocity that she could never forget them. But what if they left her just when she needed them? What if she didn't remember? She shook her head, trying to put it out of her mind. It wasn't just her mind that turned over with doubt and anticipation. Her stomach churned too, while her chest burned with the strain of holding her position. She dropped to one knee, a moment to rest. The last clang of the bell was taking longer, she was sure of it. The time should be up by now. She was being toyed with. Then the 5th bell filled the space. Shannon threw herself forward, her right hand gripping the hammer. 2 strides and then a jump and turn, and the door burst open with such violence that its clamour slammed her eyes shut, and the blow knocked her off balance, so that she dipped her head as she stumbled into the noise of a second door thrown open to smash off the wall directly opposite. She lifted her head and saw another terrified young woman who had emerged. Their worlds stopped for a moment, a silent exchange before the other woman twisted left and sprang towards the entrance that glowed a scorched white. Daylight. Shit. Shannon was already behind. She broke into a sprint. The other woman made the sunlight first, and the bright sun distorted her white dress as she fled. And she was fast, too. Shit. Shit. The instant Shannon was out of the barn, the terrain changed. Still concrete, but broken up, stained, too, with something that made it slick. The stones jabbed at the underside of her feet, and this time when she stumbled, it turned into a fall that she took on her knees and palms. There was no time for the pain. She bounced back to her feet. She kept her eyes down, desperate to pick out patches of ground where she could plant her feet. The woman in white was still ahead and faring better. She was already onto a track that twisted away to become a steep hill, and she was still running. Shannon made it to the track too. It was kinder on her feet, since vehicles had cleared 2 clear lines among the stones. The terrain changed again at the top of the hill to smooth tarmac, and here she could see country lanes meeting at a crossroads 50 meters ahead. The woman in white was there already, but she was hesitating, had even stopped, long enough to glance back. Then she seemed to make a decision, bursting back into a sprint. She went straight on. Shannon slowed for the same crossroads, thrown into doubt and confusion by the other woman's actions. The scratch diagram had shown a left. But had it? She stopped, her chest burning from the hill. Her mouth was full of excess phlegm, and she leant over to spit it out. She walked a few paces left. She was too far behind the woman in white to go the same way.